Hello guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to my YouTube channel where we talk about everything ranging from self-development to YouTube to fashion to beauty. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about navigating your 20s. I'm going to be giving you tips and tricks on how to navigate your 20s and everything that you need to do. To the best of my ability, I'm going to do a compilation of tips that I've garnered over the years. I am still in my 20s and I have read a couple of books. I've listened to a couple of podcasts. I've watched a couple of YouTube videos talking about navigating your 20s, and this is a topic that you are interested in. I do hope that you stay tuned, and I hope you're able to get valuable insights from this video. So without much ado, let's get straight into the video. So my inspiration for filming this video is actually based on the book The Defining Decade, written by Meg J. As you can see on the screen, I read this book a couple of months back and I got such profound message out of the book. I got such profound insights out of the book, and I hope that I'm able to communicate that to the best of my ability. And in that book, she talks about navigating your 20s. She talks about marriage, she talks about career, she talks about fertility, she talks about just like a plethora of issues that that disturb the 20s in our generation, the Gen Z's 20s and stuff like that. And I found myself relating to a lot of the tips that she gave, and I just think that it is a valuable one. So I'm just going to go straight into it. I'm not going to ramble. I'm not going to attempt to do like a huge intro. So I just want to put it out there that I believe that your 20s are such profound years. I believe that your 20s are sort of like the foundation to how you want the rest of your life to be. A lot of the habits that we build in our 20s are what we're going to carry on into our 30s and our 40s. A lot of practices, a lot of people, a lot of relationships that we have, a lot of personality traits that we get are what we're going to carry on into the later part of our adulthood. And I believe it is important to get it right. I hear a lot of people say that your 20s are for fun, your 20s are whatever, for discovering yourself. Yes, it is for discovering yourself. Yes, it is for having fun. But I want to preach on intentionalism. I am such, if you know me, my friends know, I'm such a big advocate for intentionalism. I believe that you need to live a purposeful life. You can't just wake up and just let your life, you can just wake up and just take life as you say it. I mean, I cannot function if I don't know where I'm going. I cannot function if I don't seem to have some sort of a plan. It might not be the best way to live, it might not be the best way to life, but I sincerely cannot. I wake up in the morning, I know that this is what I want to do. If I don't do anything productive, I feel like I'm wasting my time. If you share in this worldview, if you participate in this worldview, if you can relate to what I'm saying, you should find this video helpful. We're going to start off with relationships. And when I say relationships, I don't mean relationships in terms of romantic partner and romantic interest. I mean relationships generally. It could be work relationships, it could be everything. But in the first part of the book, she talks about the importance of weak ties, right? And in the importance of weak ties, what she basically explains is that sometimes people in your close circle are not really able to give you what you want, to give you information on what you need. So in the first part of the book, she talks about the importance of weak ties. And in my opinion, the way I say it, the way she explains, weak ties are people that are not really in your close circle. So in your close circles, you might have people you graduated from school with, people you went to university with, people that you work with, friends that you've kept since 20 years ago or whatever. Those people are not really your weak ties. Your weak ties are like contacts that you make, and as the name insinuates, they're not really tight. The relationship you have with them is sort of weak. This can be people that you meet when you go to conferences. It can be people you meet just a one-off kind of meeting. It can be people that you meet, maybe you go to buy something and you meet somebody and you exchange contacts and you exchange informations. These relationships are not close-knit relationships. But she also talks about the importance of understanding that sometimes these weak ties are able to give you information. They're able to benefit you in a way that your close circle will not be able to. If I can remember, she talked about needing to publish a book, and then somebody was able to assist her in doing that, to assist her in achieving the publication of the book. And what I surmise in all of this is that your weak ties are actually important, right? You treat everybody that you meet like human beings. Just be nice to people, because you never know who can be of help to you. You never know, maybe that person that you meet or that person that you met 5 years ago, maybe the person would have been able to do something for you down the line. It is important that you treat everybody the same. It's important that you just treat people like human beings and be nice to people, because weak ties can actually come in handy. The second tip that I have in terms of navigating your 20s is to be intentional about the habits that you create, about the habits that you develop, about the habits that you nurture in this period. Now, Meg J talked about neuroplasticity, which is the fact that the brain starts to develop from the back to the front. And so it means that when you're in your 20s to your 30s, a lot of the habits you have are actually set. From your 20s to your 30s are when you should be developing your habits. It's the time when you should be nurturing habits that will help you further down the line, right? And so because your brain is sort of plastic at this time, it is the time where you're supposed to mold your habits. Do you want to be getting up by 4 o'clock every day? Do you want to get up by 5 o'clock every day? Do you want to make exercise a part of your daily routine? Do you want to learn to pray every day? Do you want to learn how to make your bed first thing in the morning? This is the time where you should prioritize doing that, because the brain is still in the molding stage. And right, I'm also going to make reference to another book, which is The Atomic Habits. I know that this book is a popular book. I have seen it everywhere. Just search Atomic Habits. You can download the PDF copy, or you can buy the book itself and read. I read this habit, and basically it's the importance of developing habit. And one tip that I found very helpful in this book is the tip of compounding, the importance of compounding. And I think that compounding is such a profound, I don't even know, compounding is such a profound concept or a profound topic, because it spans across different parts of your life. You have importance of compounding in your education, you have it in finances, you have it in your daily life, in habits that you build, for instance. So in the importance of compounding, because you've started earlier to develop this habit, you find that when you compound them, maybe you do the same habit and you tell yourself, I'm going to be intentional about maintaining this habit. I'm going to be intentional about making my bed every day that I wake up. I'm going to be intentional about doing this for a week straight. And you do it for a week straight and you keep doing it. And that is literally the beauty of compounding. Compounding is also in terms of finances, right? If you save $1 every day and you compound it to like 30 days, you know how much that would be. I don't even want to talk too much about the importance of compounding here, because I'm still going to talk about it later in the video. So let's just move on to the next tip. The next tip is on being realistic about the job that you want, being realistic about what you want for yourself. Your 20s are still a time where you are still discovering yourself, right? But also in discovering yourself, you should also be intentional about, I know that I've said intentional like in this video like 100 times, and I'm still going to say it more because intentional is such a key word in this video. And yeah, so just bear with me. I should probably look for synonyms of intentional, but I don't know. Okay, so we're going to be talking about being realistic with what you want for yourself, being realistic with what your passions are, Take a moment, take some time to yourself, ask yourself questions, take quizzes to understand what do you like about yourself, what do you find fulfillment in, what do you find passion in, what do you find satisfaction in doing. Do you find satisfaction in helping people? Do you find satisfaction when you're able to resolve other people's problems? What is that one thing that takes you? What is that one thing that makes you go? What is that one thing that makes you feel alive? Discover that passion for yourself. I know that life in itself is a journey, and that you're trying to discover yourself and all of that. Understandable. But you should also start doing that in your 20s. Don't wait till your 30s to start to think about what you want to do with your life. Start doing it in your 20s. Actually, you don't even have to be in your 20s. If you're earlier than 20 and you're watching this, it's also a good time to start thinking in that direction so that you can lead a focused life, right? So when you analyze what it is that makes you happy, think about ways that you can monetize your passions, right? So is your passion making YouTube videos? What are the ways that you can monetize that? Is your passion making bags? Is your passion weaving? Is your passion hair? Is your passion anything? It could be anything. It could be anything. So just think about ways that you can hone in on that passion, ways that you can develop that passion that you have. So for example, if my passion is doing makeup, for instance, I know that, okay, I'm going to critically analyze myself. What is it in my makeup that I don't know how to do? Is it my brows? Am I not doing my brows right? Is it my skin? Is there any other tip or any other trick that I could add to my repertoire to make it easier for me to achieve a flawless base or a flawless makeup, stuff like that? So when you do this critical analysis, you are able to develop more skills. You're able to add in more skills to your skill set and make yourself better, right? Still in the same vein, if you're talking about makeup, find ways that you can monetize your makeup passion. Do you want to film YouTube videos on that? Do you want to do makeup for your friends and families? Do you want to get like a client base that you can do your makeup for? I don't know, I'm just giving a random example, but it could literally be anything. Just stop thinking about ways that you can monetize your passion. Moving on to the fourth tip. Next tip is about love, and this is the part of the book where I was able to relate more with. This is the part of the book that resonated a lot more with me, and it is the part of love. It is part of marriage, right? So in the world that we are in, Africa, right, there is generally a tendency to get married earlier than our Western counterparts. And it has been since the influence of Western civilization, of Western culture, that women, have started not getting married as earlier as they used to. I don't know if that makes any sense. But nowadays we find a lot of people are unmarried. We find that a lot of people put off marriage. A lot of people don't really consider marriage to be important. And if marriage is not a big deal to you, if marriage does not matter to you, if you would not like to get married at a later time in your life, you can maybe skip this part of the video. So Meg J talks about the importance of marriage, the importance of being intentional with relationships. Your 20s are a time to be intentional about what you want down in your life. Your 20s are not a time to have frivolous relationships. Your 20s are not a time for you to just date everyone and anyone just because you can. Your 20s are a time or a foundation where you should really be assessing the people that you attract and people that you're attracted to. Really understand what makes you attracted to people, really understand what your values are, really understand what you want in a partner, and learn how to be better, learn how to be a better partner. Your 20s are not a time for you to boast about having dated 20 men and all the material possessions that you're able to get from men. It is about setting your life, setting the tone of your life, setting the tone of what you want your life to be down the line, right? So if marriage is your goal down the line, you should not be afraid of saying no to relationships that don't serve you. You should be able to set standards for your life, set standards for yourself. What do you want in a partner? Do you want someone that, that treats you like a princess, or do you want someone that treats you like a regular person? Well, do you want the princess passenger treatment? What exactly does that mean to you? Set standards for yourself personally. Don't look at social media to give you validation. Don't look at social media to tell you how you should be treated. Find out for yourself what makes you feel good. Do you like when your partner says certain things to you? What exactly takes you off? You should also learn how to communicate properly, right? Don't bottle up your feelings and just say, oh, if he loves me, he's going to understand me and stuff like that. It is a time for you to practice intentional communication. I'm saying intentionally again. It's a time for you to practice intentional communication. Recently, there's also been this craze about waiting to get older. People are like, oh, I don't want to get married because I'm still 23 years old. I don't want to get married because I'm not up to 30. I want to wait till I'm 30 to get married and all of that. Well, I get your point of view, right? But I also think that waiting to get married, there is no specific statistics that says that if you wait till you get married by 30, that you're able to be a better partner, right? There's also no statistic that says that if you get married before 30, that you're able to be a better partner. However, I do think that we should put into consideration the fact that the more you wait and wait and wait, the more you date tons of people, the more you are out there on the streets, right? Literally, you accumulate trauma for yourself. There's something called relationship trauma, where you have all these traumas that you've accumulated from several partners, and subconsciously you kind of bring it into the relationships that you have, and you find yourself sabotaging that relationship that should ordinarily be perfect. But because you've accumulated so much trauma in your life, you just bring it unknowingly into the relationship. I just think that we should consider that fact when deciding to wait and wait before we get married, right? Addressing the fact that it is not a taboo to want marriage, it is not a taboo to want commitment. She makes reference to someone that, she's in her 20s and she's so afraid to talk to her partner. She's so afraid to say, oh, I want to get married when I'm 28 and I want to have had my first child by the time I'm 31. Because this culture that we're in is encouraging people to swallow their feelings. It's encouraging people to just bottle up everything, encouraging people to not say what they want, encouraging people to not be so desperate for love because, I can't. What are you doing? Do you have a goal in mind? If not, girl, bounce. If you don't have a plan, if you don't have a mission, if you don't have anything, find your way, right? Don't waste my time. Reject time wasters. Don't waste your time. All right. So, another misconception that she talks about in her book is on the idea that cohabitation before marriage will help you get to know your partner better. This is such a myth, right? Because, okay, I'm going to give personal examples. When I was in uni, if you went to uni in Nigeria, you know this, right? You've seen couples, you've seen the boyfriend and the girlfriend that you're living together, and they just live together because it's just easier for us to stay together, So one thing that she talks about is to dump the idea that cohabitation before marriage will help you get to know your partner better. In fact, statistically, couples who cohabit before marriage are actually most likely to get a divorce than couples who don't cohabit, right? When I read this, I was like, okay, does that really make any sense? But then I thought about it further, and I'm going to give you one argument. I'm not saying that I'm 100% right, but this is a discussion, right? Let me know what you think in the comment section. Okay, my argument that I put forward is the fact that our parents, right, previous generation, what did they do differently? You know, we will think that with the advent of technology, we will think that with so much information out there online, that marriages in our generation should last longer. We will think that with the rate of freedom rights movement, with the rate of self-awareness, with the rate of self-discovery going on, we will think that the rate of marriage should, reduce, right? But we know that the rate of marriage has been on an increase ever since, as far as I can remember, the rate of marriage kept increasing. Okay, I'm not saying that the way of life, I'm not saying that the way your parents lived, that was perfect. I'm not saying that it did not have its own blemishes. But hear me out. Those days, people don't cohabit, right? My father and my mother, my uncles and my aunts did not cohabit before marriage because there's just something called see finish, right? You know what see finish is? It's like, you're not married to somebody, so why are you living together with them? So one argument that I'm putting forth is the fact that our parents did not cohabit before marriage, and their marriages last longer than the current generation that we're in. So I don't know. Their marriages last longer. So what is it? It means that it's not cohabitation. You don't need cohabiting. You don't need to cohabit with your partner or whatever for you to know who they really are. There are ways to do this. It's not cohabitation. Cohabitation is not what makes a marriage last. I think that's just the idea that she's trying to put forth. Another thing that she talks about is also the fact that cohabiting before marriage promotes the idea of sliding, not deciding. What that means is because you're just going with the flow, because you're like, oh, maybe one person's rent has expired and you're like, oh, let's just move in together, let me just move in with my boyfriend, it's not gonna, it's easier for me, I don't have to pay rent, and you find yourself just sliding into the next decision, sliding into the next phase. I hear that these days people don't ask people out anymore, they just talk, they just keep talking, and the next thing you know, they're in a relationship, and from the relationship they just keep talking, and before you know, they're living together, and in a relation, and then when they're living together, they just keep living together, and they're like, oh, the next step should be get married, let's just get married, and then they go ahead and just get married. It's the idea of just sliding into the next phase and not really deciding, why are we going into this, not really deciding what do you want out of it. You're cohabiting with somebody, you find that you're just not really deciding what you want to do, right? What goals do you want out of this? What exactly are your expectations out of it? But you don't really sit down to have conversations, to have decisions or discussions about these things. You find that you're just sliding to the next phase of your life, and this sliding can actually be dangerous. The next step is the importance of working on your finances in your 20s. So this is where I talk about compounding. Remember that I briefly talked about compounding earlier in this video. So in terms of working on improving your finances, in your 20s you should have fun, hang out with friends, travel, do what makes you happy, have fun, and all of that stuff. But it's also important to have it in your head that you still have your life down the line. It is important for you to start early to get investments. It is important for you to start early to not blow your money away. Save some parts of your money. Don't follow social media trends. Don't follow social media trends because you see somebody in Ibiza or whatever, or you see them with that Hermes handbag, or you see them with the Louis Vuitton shoes, and you're like, oh, I need to get that. It's my life. I'm in my 20s. Have fun. Life is short and all of that. And you blow away your spendings. You blow away your earnings. It is important to understand or realize the fact that your 20s are still a foundation. What you sow is what you reap. I'm also going to make reference to a book that I read like I actually forgot what the book is. I'm gonna search for it and see if I can put it on the screen. So what the author talked about is, the person talks about the importance of compounding, the importance of time. And so the profound message, the general summary of what the person was trying to say was that what Elon Musk and what Bill Gates have in common is not maybe what makes them rich, is not maybe the schools that they attended. What made them rich is not maybe the connections or, you know, the wealth or the family wealth that they had. What made them rich is time. And so the illustration I'm also going to give again is that if you start in your 20s to save, I don't know, if you start in your 20s to save 10,000 naira every month, for instance, and you start in your 20s to do that, when you're in your 50s, you would have saved more, right, than if someone started when they were 30, when they were in their 30s to do that. Because you would have started in your 10s, it is more comfortable for you to have saved that, because you didn't have to deal with, you know, the cost of inflation going on. You didn't have to deal with just several different factors that you would have dealt with than if someone started in their 30s to save the same $10. And so time is a very valuable commodity, especially when we're young. So it is important to start early. Put away some money, put away some part of your earning. Are you a salary earner, whatever? Are you a business owner? Prioritize saving, but not just saving. Prioritize on investing. Prioritize on having beneficial investment, right? The next tip that we're going to be talking about is on improving your physical health, improving your mental health. So recently, a personal example, mental health at work has not been the best, right? And coupled with everything going on in the country, coupled with the hike in prices, coupled with the ever rising rate of inflation, most 20 somethings, our mental health is not really as perfect as it should be. And it's so sad, because if we start in our 20s to have bad mental health, when does it end? When does it stop? So I was thinking about it a couple of days ago, and I was just thinking, like, okay, there's no point crying over spilled milk, right? There's no point crying over the situation. The important thing is to learn how to manage the situation that you're in, right? Because we can't run away from stress. We can't run away from certain people. We can't run away from people, we can't run away from people who upset us. We can try to reduce how much time we spend with them. We can try to reduce the rate of interaction we have with them. But sometimes we can't just do away with it, because that's life. Life is always going to have its ups and downs. And so it is important to prioritize taking care of your mental health. I know that people talk about therapy. People talk about going to, a licensed therapist that will help you, kind of resolve the issues and the problems that you might have. But I also understand that therapy is actually expensive, and not everybody has access to good therapy. So I am going to suggest a few tips on how to, take care of your mental health, and these include journaling. I am such a big advocate for journaling, because aside from the fact that it helps me, to put down my feelings, it helps me with communication, right? Because I'm able to put my feelings down in words. I'm able to put them down on a page, right? But aside from all of that, I like that when I'm in a better space, I like that I'm able to go back to my journal and see how I was feeling 2 months ago. Maybe there was a particular problem that I was facing 2 months ago, and then I go back to my journal and I see that that particular problem has been solved. It just helps me, put into perspective that whatever issue you're having is not the end of life. There's always going to be a resolution to it. You might not see, it might not make sense to you, but the issues will always get resolved. And it's always a gleaning point for me, because I look at those things, I look at the way I'm feeling, and it helps me realize when next I have a challenge that there's always light at the end of the tunnel, right? You might not see the solution immediately, you might not see the problem being resolved immediately, but trust me, give it time. Just give it time and everything will be fine. So aside journaling, if you have close friends and families that you can talk to when you're facing difficulties, maybe if you're having feelings of anxiety, feelings of depression, you can try to talk to people, and also you can try to talk to people, find people that make you feel like a human being, find people who don't put you down, and try to be around those people. The times when I used to have feelings of depression, when I used to have feelings of anxiety, I would pick up my Bible and I would read my Bible. I listened to, I think it was either a message or a podcast, and someone was saying that when you start feeling anxious, when you start feeling depressed, it is important to understand that it is the enemy trying to control your mind. It is the enemy trying to, not make you feel happy. Because as children of God, we're supposed to be happy. God did not put us on this life for us to not be happy, right? I don't think that He put me in this world for me to just go around with a moody face or with a sad face or whatever. I know that He put me in this world to be of value to people. And there's no way I will be of value to people if I'm being anxious, if I'm being depressed. And so I pick up my Bible and I read. It doesn't have to be any specific page. It doesn't have to be any book of the Bible. I just pick up somewhere random and I read it. I find that the Word of God is very calming. I find that the Word of God is very stabilizing. Like when I read some passages and, when I just read some passages, and it just makes me feel so grounded. It just makes me feel like, it just makes me let go. Because a lot of times we take on a lot of pressure to be in control. We take on a lot of pressure to have everything figured out. But it's also necessary for us to understand that we don't have everything. We don't have everything under control. My life is going to go according to what God has designed for my life. So prayer, reading my Bible, talking to friends and families, journaling, these are some of the tips that I'm going to recommend in terms of mental health. The next tip that I have is on physical health. Alright, so physical health, we have diet, we have exercise, and we have skincare. Yeah, skincare is going to be in this video, because you need to start from your 20s to take care of yourself, right? So in terms of diet, start early to don't I just remembered something. In terms of diet, start early to eat what you're supposed to eat. Don't wait till you're in your 40s or you're in your 30s to know that, oh, fruits are good, I should take more vegetables, I should drink more water. No, don't wait till you start having backache or whatever for you to know that you need to do exercise. Start early to prioritize exercise. And exercise doesn't even have to be something crazy. It doesn't even have to be you going to the gym and trying to lift 120 kg or whatever. You can literally take a walk, right? Cardio is still a form of exercise. I know that the recent culture, we have people, doing all the gym routines and everything. Every time you watch a video, recently, every time I watch a video on YouTube about that girl, I see someone going to the gym and everything. And I just need you to put into perspective the fact that we live in Nigeria. I live in Lagos, Nigeria, and not even that. I just think it's important for us to put into perspective the fact that you might not have access to a gym. I might not have access to a gym, but that doesn't mean that exercise should stop because you can't go to a gym. You can literally take a run, walk, jog, whatever it is, run at a pace, run in a position or whatever. Anything that you do, heart rate up, these are forms of exercises that you should indulge in. Prioritize drinking water, prioritize moving your body. If your work is kind of a sedentary work, sort of like what I do a 9 to 5, and I find that I'm always sitting in the office, try and make it a point of duty to take a walk, right? So if there's a short distance that you can trek and there's the option of taking a bike, why not just take a walk, right? Maybe consider that. So it is important to understand that you should develop discipline in your 20s. It is discipline that will help you to build the habits that you'll carry into your 20s. It is discipline that will help you to understand what is meant for you and what is not meant for you. Discipline will keep you away from a lot of trash, and it is important that you start early to develop discipline. Discipline involves knowing how to set standards for yourself and standing by those standards. Discipline involves learning how to say no to things that don't fit your worldview. Learn how to say no to people that don't grow you. Learn how to choose yourself. Learn how to say yes to yourself. Learn how to choose yourself every time. Just learn how to be a better person generally. It is discipline that will help you have all these habits. So I hope that you're able to get value from this video. I hope that you enjoyed watching the video. I hope that I've been able to pass across some value. I hope that I've been able to pass across some content to you. So if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe. If you're in your 30s or in your 40s, or even if you're still in your 20s, you can let us know in the comment section any tip, any advice that you have that would help anybody in their age range to be better in life. So that's all, my lovelies. I'll see you guys in the next one. I do hope you have a wonderful day.